Hey, my name is Varun Bose. I am a percussionist at Basis Phoenix. I'm going into junior year. And as for my musical experience, I've been learning about music theory since elementary school. And I've been playing drums and percussion for about 5.5 years now. And I made it into the all region honor band for I made it into the AMEA all region honor band this year for percussion. And I've also gone to the Curry Summer Music Camp at NAU last year.
Hey, Abhi.
Hi, I'm Vishnu Vijala. I play trumpet. I'm also going into junior year, and for my experience, I've been playing trumpet for about 4 to 5 years now. I've been playing piano for 5 years, and I made it into the all region honor band for the last 2 years, and I did a Korea Summer Music Camp this last summer.
I'm Michelle. I've been playing horn for like 7 years, going to 8 years now. Um, I'm also a junior or coming up junior. And I made it into all state for all of middle school and for freshman year. And I went to regionals for both freshman and sophomore year. Hopefully I could have made it in for sophomore year for all state, but that got canceled. So yeah. But then I go to Curry Summer Music Camp every summer and I do some chamber programs and I do PYS. I've done it for 4 years now. So over the
Awesome.
course of 7 weeks,
Yeah.
we're gonna basically just go throughout the basics of music. Rune, do you want to go through it?
Yeah. So first of all, we need we're going to need everyone to download MuseScore. It's a free app that you can get on any computer. And we're going to be using that more later in the course when we start our composition unit. And we're also going to be playing a little bit of Kahoot with our instrument families, just as a little review game, see what you learned. And then as for the curriculum, first week we're going to be talking about instruments, instrument families, what the instruments look like, sort of how they sound, and ensembles as well. What ensembles the music, like these instruments, play in. We'll get to that this lesson. And then second week, we're going to be talking about clefs and staff, going into the basics of notes and notation and how to read music. And that's going to spill over into the third week where we start talking about rhythm, what types of notes there are, and just everything to do with rhythms. Week 4, we're going to put those together, start talking about musical theory. We're going to start talking about like melodies, chords, how songs start talking about how we can use these to make music. And then week 5, we'll start talking about songs, how everything we've talked about works into creating music and full songs, what kind of structures these songs have. And yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. And then week 6, we're going to be going into composition. You guys are going to be writing your own pieces, just a little short thingy. Abhi is actually a really great composer. He's composed a little bit for our band at Basis. So he's going to be talking a lot about that. And then in week 7, we're going to share the compositions you made. And we can offer some criticism and compliments so you can learn from this. And by the end of this course, you're going to have some pretty good knowledge of music, and you're going to have some pretty good knowledge of how to make music and what goes into music.
Okay, so let's start with our PowerPoint for this. Let me see if I can like make this actually work.
Let's switch to present mode.
Help. Oh, here it is. I found the button. All right. I swear I
Awesome.
know computers.
All right, so why don't we present the slides that we made?
All right.
Yeah.
Oh wait, buttons. Wait, how?
Here we go. Instruments and ensembles.
Okay, there we
This
go.
is gonna be fun.
Okay, so why don't I start off? Okay, so the piano is one of the most well-known instruments, and it has 88 keys. So how you produce sound is by pressing on the keys with your fingers. So each key corresponds to a different note, and the white keys are for natural notes, and the black keys are for either flat or sharp notes. And again, we're going to go over this in future lessons. And so basically, the 4 categories of instruments besides the piano are woodwinds, strings, brass, and percussion. So the first category is woodwinds, which I'll go into. So the highest pitch woodwind instrument is called the flute, and how you play it is by blowing wind through the head of the flute, and which is basically the first part, like the highest part in the image. And what a piccolo is basically just a higher pitched flute, same idea, and the same structure too. The clarinet and the bass clarinet. So the clarinet is the second highest pitch woodwind, and it has extremely high range, and it's a single reed instrument. So basically how sound is produced is when you push air with your mouth, the reed, which is in the mouthpiece, the reed buzzes against the mouthpiece, and that buzzing actually creates sound. And what a bass clarinet is essentially is just a lower version of the clarinet, and it has a lower range than the clarinet does. So the saxophone family is an extremely diverse type of instrument. It's also a single reed clarinet like the clarinet. So there are basically 4 types. The first type is the soprano clarinet. So that's the highest pitched. And then the second type is the alto clarinet. That's the most common, and it's the second highest. So the tenor saxophone is the third highest, and the baritone saxophone is the lowest.
There are actually a few saxophones that are lower than a baritone saxophone, but those are pretty rare, and we won't really go into them. You won't need to know those.
So these are the 4 most common types. And if I said clarinet instead of saxophone, that's my bad. So the oboe is also the second highest pitch woodwind instrument, and it's a double reed instrument. So this is actually different than a clarinet or a saxophone. So basically what happens is there are 2 reeds. They're next to each other, and when you blow between the reeds, they buzz against each other, and that's how you produce sound. The bassoon is the lowest pitch woodwind instrument, and it's also a double reed instrument in addition to the oboe. Next, the brass section. So the highest pitched brass instrument is called the trumpet, and its sound is one of the loudest and the brightest sounds of any instrument in either the wind symphony or the orchestra. So basically how the trumpet works, there's 3 valves, and by pressing a combination of the 3 valves, trumpet players can produce notes. And sound is produced by buzzing on the mouthpiece of the instrument. So basically the mouthpiece is a little round, like cylindrical metal thing at the very end of the instrument. It's on the opposite.
My mouthpiece out right now, Abhi. I can kind of like demonstrate what buzzing is. So when I'm gonna turn this pointer off. It's annoying me. When you're buzzing, you kind of just press your lips together and like do the little thing. Like I don't know. It's like, but you have to do it like tighter and then into your mouthpiece, so it causes a sound. So when you put your mouthpiece in your instrument, which I'm not going to do right now because I don't want to take out my horn, it just creates a whole sound that allows you to play your instrument.
So the difference between woodwind and brass instruments is that, like for woodwind instruments, you're kind of blowing into the instrument, but for brass instruments, for mouthpieces, you buzz. So that that's also differentiates woodwinds and brass instruments. So Michelle, do you want to cover the rest of the brass?